What's happening, YouTube? Anthony on Power Rangers Lost Galaxy fan film with a brand new Lost Galaxy 2014 review. Continuing my reviews on these two-pack crossovers between Power Rangers and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Sorry, I got the tongue all tied up. Sorry about that tongue twister. With my second half of my Ninja Turtles Power Ranger 2-packs for the Power Rangers Lightning Collection. So today we are doing April O'Neil as the Pink Ranger and Michelangelo as the Yellow Ranger. Since part 1 covered Donatello as black, Leonardo in blue, so we're doing April and Mike today. So here's the front of the package, consisting of April as the Pink Ranger, and guess what? No skirt on her. And then Michelangelo as the Yellow Ranger on the front. You got artwork of her and you know April and Mike on their respective sides. Then you got the logos on the top for Power Rangers and Ninja Turtles, and then the back render of the figures. So with that being said, I'm surprised they actually made April O'Neil a Ranger. Wow. I guess, well, if we don't have Venus the let me shut up. April, well, it makes sense. Make April the Pink Ranger because she's a bit close to like TMNT's answer to Kimberly and Power Rangers. Yeah, it's no doozy to make Michelangelo the Yellow Ranger, but even though he has an orange ninja eye band, so it makes sense to make him yellow, even though yellow and orange, well, either way. But that being said, time to kick some shell with these two, and it's morphin' time. It was very difficult getting every single accessory out of the package for this one as opposed to the other pack. I hope the next and last Ninja Turtles 2-pack I got doesn't get any difficult than this, because when I managed to get all the interchangeable hands for Michelangelo, one of the hands popped out of the plastic and hit me straight in the face. Yeah, but here's the interchangeable hands for Michelangelo and two of the hands for April O'Neil, even though they're just the same stock hands as your usual Mighty Morphin Pink Ranger or any female Ranger with these kind of hands. So yeah, that's for the accessories department with those hands. So for April O'Neil's accessories, you have her microphone and her camera that she uses when she does her, news stations and stuff, because, anybody knows TMNT lore. April O'Neil is a news reporter, so it makes sense she got to have her camera and microphone, so you have those accessories for April there. Now, the lightning effect piece for Michelangelo is somewhat different from what we had for Donatello, because when you think about it, this is a lightning effect piece I didn't have before. This little ooze, purple-looking swish effect, which I never had before, but this is a brand new effect piece added for my collection for these lightning effect pieces for Power Rangers. Everybody knows this lightning effect piece for Mighty Morphin Pink and Ranger Slayer, so this is nothing different. It's just the same, lightning arrow shoot effect for April as the Pink Ranger, as with Kimberly and even Catherine and Ranger Slayer for Mighty Morphin Pink. And even the cell-shaded Mighty Morphin Pink Ranger has this effect piece. So nothing different on that lightning effect piece. But what is different is for, again, April is her, and also it's a little bent, I know, because again, it was difficult getting the accessories out of the plastic, but yet it was so easy getting the figures out of the plastic. Her arrow shot is all pink and not, silver like your usual Mighty Morphin Pink Ranger release, so that's a little bit different. So here is that arrow piece to put through for when she wants to fling that shot at, with the power bow. So there you go. So let's put the camera and mic away, and then on to the civilian heads for April O'Neil and Mike. So April and Mike's heads are right here. So now Michelangelo's head, especially his the color of his head is a bit brighter than Donatello and Leonardo. But although when I get the Raphael, he has that teal green tint to him, but Michelangelo has this slimy booger snot green shade. And I mean, as long as it makes sense for him, because he had for the party, so he needed to be different in shade with that shade of green. So here's Michelangelo's head if you want to switch that out. Now, looking at April O'Neil's head, this is as close as we can get a decent April head for any collector grade TMNT figure, and also first time owning April O'Neil as an action figure, even though not for like standard TMNT fare, but with her as the Pink Ranger for this crossover between TMNT and MMPR. Looking at the likeness, it does capture how she looked in the original 80s cartoon as good as possible, and I really do like this. But though, despite it having very much of an animated appearance, something about her head's, you know, her face just looks like, I'm not going to mention the name of the actress who played the Wops in the MCU, but man, I hate her though. But her face looks a little bit more like that actress. Oh yeah, Evangeline Lilly, of course. But in some shades, she can also look a little bit like Canadian actress Trisha Helfer too, from Battlestar Galactica fame and whatnot. In some shades, she does look like more like if Evangeline Lilly from the MCU, the Wops from the Ant-Man movies, was April O'Neil. But then again, it did give me that vibe of like, this is starting to look a bit more like, again, Evangeline Lilly, if she was April. But her ass is too fucking old though. Because and also she retired from showbiz as of 2025. As for the figures for April and Mike, let's take a look at oh yeah, I forgot to show off the power bow. And lastly, for the accessories, the power bow for April as the Pink Ranger. Her power bow is way more translucent and see-through as opposed to your standard Mighty Morphin Pink Ranger. So this is different from what we're used to seeing, because like with the Ninja Turtles variations of the original power weapons, they actually do have to make them a bit different and similar to how the Mighty Morphin Rangers always had their weapons. So, and I mean, I don't know if it's possible you can still form the power blaster with these weapons like you would with the main the main group of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, but it can be possible, but I don't know if I want to do that right now. But yeah, so here's April's power bow. And her Blade Blaster is no different from all the Blade Blasters we had for most of the other Mighty Morphin releases. Mighty Morphin Pink's figure is basically feels like it's a repurpose of your standard Mighty Morphin Pink Ranger with Kimberly from Lightning Collection Wave 2 from 2019. Just the removal of the skirt is different, and the only thing that is different is that they try to keep the shade of pink as consistent as possible, because again, here's again yet another Lightning Collection Mighty Morphin Pink Ranger where the shade of pink is just not going to stay consistent. I don't know why. It's like Hasbro must hate the color of pink for some reason. If you're not going to do the Pink Ranger right and keep the shade of pink right, why bother at all? All these different hodgepodges of different shades of pink, and you know, at least the pink on the helmet's right, the arms, the legs, but what isn't consistent is the shade of pink on the abdomen and the waistline around the groin and the buttocks and the back. Well, the camera's going to pick up different though. But also, you should know that the Mighty Morphin Pink Ranger helmet that April has feels like they use the same Lightning Collection Mighty Morphin Pink helmet sculpt from the Kimberly Wave 2 release. But also, the silver on the lip part of the Pink Ranger helmet is a lot more, I guess, more shinier than the standard. And because you can get some more shimmer of silver around like the lines of the jaw and around where the mouth is of the helmet. So, but though like that Mighty Morphin Pink Ranger, the pterodactyl helmet has the spread out circles around the visor with the pterodactyl around it. So that's just the same as what we had before. But yeah, we got finally your non-skirted MMPR Pink Ranger. If we ever had those color swap Mighty Morphin Rangers. Yeah, there was that one of many 2-packs for that, but if only if we had, who was Mighty Morphin Pink in that color swap issue of Go-Go Power Rangers? Now, I know if they made Billy the Pink Ranger, you know, in the color swap thing from Boom Studios' Go-Go book, making Billy pink would be a callback to, yeah, I'm not even gonna go there. But they made Zach the Pink Ranger in that color swap issue, where Trini was the Red Ranger, Jason was yellow, Kimberly was blue, Billy was black. Oh yeah, and Zach was the pink one. Okay, so, but if we also had like the 1969 Rangers from the Boom Studio books too, because the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers in 1969 had a male Pink Ranger that had the pterodactyl power, and we could have gotten a gender bent male Mighty Morphin Pink Ranger had of once again if Hasbro had continued the Lightning Collection up to this point, we could have got more Mighty Morphin figures inspired from the Boom Studio stuff, the comic stuff, and we could have gotten the 1969 Rangers. And if we're gonna have a Pink Ranger a female Pink Ranger that does not have the skirt like the traditional Pink Ranger, we do have a non-skirted female Red Ranger, because, well, whenever I get that Jason and Trini color swap 2-pack later. But yeah, but this is just the basis and a preview of what will yet to come when I get that 2-pack. And speaking of, when I do get that figure, as also a preview of when I do get that 2-pack of Jason and Trini color swapped. You have the yellow Mighty Morphin Ranger, well, Michelangelo from TMNT as the Yellow Ranger. Finally, my very first male Yellow Ranger figure in Power Rangers. In the Lightning collection, that is, though. And so Michelangelo, you got his figure, you got the Saber-Tooth Tiger helmet, and then like with the other turtles, you got the red eyes, but though the red is going to be hard to see on those eyes. And then the way how his entire figure is. Now, unlike Leonardo and Donatello's figures, now when I do open up Raphael next time, him and Michelangelo do not have those stashes over the suits like Leo and Don did, but it's just your standard looking, you know, Power Ranger-esque suit for Michelangelo, and even Raphael without the stash around them. So, because knowing, I think Raphael and Michelangelo feel more like the backup crew around this point. But though, it would have been great if back when they did the 2-packs, they should have put Leonardo and Raphael together and Michelangelo and Donatello together, because Mike and Don feel like the backup crew of the TMNT sometimes, because you know how when Leonardo and Raphael get the beefing. And I think this is the best shade of yellow I've ever seen on a Yellow Ranger in the Lightning collection, because this is probably the most brightest yellow I ever had for a Power Ranger, let alone for the Lightning collection itself. And here's the power coins on April and Michelangelo and their suits. But though, since April's Pink Ranger is, well, your standard Lightning collection's, female mold, you're not going to see much of the pterodactyl power coin, but I guess you can see a little of it a little bit, but you just can't see it all that much. But you can get some more semblance of the Saber-Tooth Tiger power coin on Mike's Morpher. So that's something. And here's also his nunchucks. So his nunchucks are based off the Yellow Ranger's power daggers. So that's also neat to have too. Okay. Take the weapons out of the hand. So let's go over April first and then take a look at Michelangelo for articulation and everything. I've already did an overview of how the figures look in terms of painting and detailing. So let's talk about articulation first on April. Okay, so on April, the head does turn around all the way. Yeah, you can also tilt the head up and down as far as you can, because I think that ball joint is... yeah, I'm worried. Even if I do take the Pink Ranger helmet off, I'm just worried I'm going to break this head joint off, and I'm just, because it's already bad enough. I already broke off my first Mighty Morphin Yellow Ranger's head joint to try to put the Trini head on. So let's put April's head on the Pink Ranger. I just gotta be careful putting it in the joint. Yeah, it's a little tight too, because the ball joint for her figure. I think they made it a little too big. I wish they never did do the ball joints so small and difficult to pop on and off when I want to switch out heads of the Rangers. That's the problem I have with this. I mean, if I had a standard Marvel Legend, if I had a Marvel Legend figure, I shouldn't have this problem. I don't know why Hasbro made these ball joints for switching out the heads for Power Rangers so difficult, though. That's the problem. And again, I've had that problem since I started doing Lightning Collection reviews 5 years ago in 2020. Okay, so here's April unhelmeted as the Mighty Morphin Pink Ranger, but damn, your childhood crush 80s kids never looked any hotter, even in pink. And boy, she looks hot and damn fine in pink. God damn. But yeah, so here's April as the Pink Ranger without her helmet on. Okay, so this is how her head would be. I think I'm about to keep the helmet, the head of April on, but though when I take it off, it's going to be a hard time putting the Pink Ranger helmet on this thing. So here's other articulation points. Butterfly joints is good on April. Bend those butterfly joints to the shoulders so we can get a good, spreading out view. And then here's the elbow crunch on this arm for April, and then this arm too. And then butterfly joints on, and then on the abdomen crunch. Okay, abdomen crunch is pretty good on this. Okay, and then spreading the legs, because if I had more female Rangers, and I just wish that if we were to continue more of this, and if they had continued, we could have gotten more female Power Rangers that also didn't have skirts. I know Dino Fury Green doesn't have a skirt because Izzy is not that type of girl for that skirt shit. And I know other female Rangers I know that don't have skirts. I mean, you got that free leg movement since she doesn't have a skirt. She got plenty of movement to move around with. And, okay, now onto the knee crunch. And also, notice the knee is a little loose on this one because due to the hard plastic getting these two out. And then here's the knee crunch on this leg. And then there you go for April on the knees. But though I've noticed that on my April, the more I bend them knees, it looks like it's going to break. And that's something I'm worried about now. So I'm a little worried now that I kept bending them knees. I'm worried that the figure will break, the knees on the figure will break, and I don't want to do that. And then here's the ankle pivots on April. So her ankles are pretty good on both feet. But though, unlike my usual Mighty Morphin Pink Ranger figure, she's not going to likely stand very well. And also now that the knee got so bad and bent, I don't think she's going to stand very well. So I'll just put her somewhere right here. And then move on to Michelangelo. And then let's take a look at his articulation. Turn his head around so you got some good head movement. Tilt that head up and down. Also, the belt on his figure is a little coming off because I think I had this problem too with the other ones. Butterfly joints. Now, I've also forgot to notice in last time that in terms of trying to bend the butterfly joints to spread the arms around. Oh, I'm about to drop you, Mike. I don't mean that. Spread the arms around because due to their shells being in their back, you're not going to be able to spread those butterfly joints and spread the arms around. So, okay, as for elbow crunches, his elbow crunches are superb, so no problems there on this one, and I don't think any problem. I think, whoa, hold up. Yeah, and also another problem I have with Michelangelo's figure, like Donatello, this time Michelangelo, I like him in yellow, but them joints on the knees and arms are pretty damn stiff right now. They're like stiff everywhere. I do like the shade of yellow and everything, but the joints for the elbows and the knees are just too darn stiff, especially on his legs. But man, and I thought I had a problem with this with Donatello last time, but Michelangelo's legs are even way more stiffer. And I'm just like, what is up with that? Okay. And I'm trying to, bend that leg. So you got that leg, knee crunch, and then ankle pivot. Okay. And now let's put his power dagger nunchucks back in his hands. So when I pose him in April with the weapons in hand. But though, yeah, people are going to wonder, why do I have April unhelmeted, and knowing her as a Power Ranger will have people know her identity. Well, well, of course, the Turtles and her are from New York. So people are going to know who they are, and they're going to know that April just joined the Power Rangers just for these particular, Okay, Power Bow in April's hand, but although I do want to take a look at how she is with holding her camera, but that will be for another day. Just saying. So, I just had the Power Bow right in the grip. I just got to open the fingers a little bit. I don't know why I'm struggling though. I mean, these are great figures, but it's just there's some parts of it where they just made things a bit complicated. So here's April, and also I'm trying to turn her head around so I can pose her right. And here's April with the Power Bow as the Pink Ranger in hand, and there you go. So how do I feel about this 2-pack? Now, this 2-pack is good, and I have to give it that. And okay, let's see how Donatello and Leonardo look with April and Mike as Rangers. So once I get around Raphael, that's complete. And then, I really do like these Ninja Turtle figures of the Power Rangers. I really, really do. And because it's something I probably would have thought, I would imagine that this would ever happen. I mean, of course, there's no way they could have done this back in space, because Next Mutation Ninja Turtles, you know how that was. But TMNT and MMPR, what a fascinating crossing over combination. So here you have Leonardo, Donatello, and Michelangelo with April. All it leaves now is Raphael, and that's about it. And we have Team TMNT as Power Rangers, down, and just like I did the Street Fighters last time. So in conclusion, with this 2-pack, if there's a figure I actually like from this 2-pack, April as the Pink Ranger. There's just something about it, because who would have thought imagining her as a Power Ranger, if there was ever an MMPR TMNT crossover, would be, well, possible. Now, Michelangelo was good, but like Donatello, he suffers with some joints on the knees and elbows, and that is probably what weighs his figure down a little bit for me. But April's figure is probably my favorite from this set. Damn, she looks fine. Like I said, looks fine as hell in pink. So now that's all leaves for my third and last part of these videos about these 2-packs between the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers. So all that leaves now is Raphael as the Red Ranger, and surprise, Tommy as a Ninja Foot Clan soldier. Yeah, when we get around that. So if you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe, drop a like, share this video with your friends, and I'll see you guys next time.